right, welcome aboard November 147 Bravo Romeo. This is a Vans RV4 with a Lycoming 0320 160 horsepower engine, two-blade fixed pitch propeller. We have a maximum allowable gross weight of 1,500 pounds, and with the 28.5 gallons on board and myself, we currently weigh about 1,315 pounds. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is angle of attack and energy maneuverability. Notice I did not say energy management. There is no faster way to get a pilot's eyes to glaze over than to explain to him he's an energy manager, and when the stick goes forward, the trees get bigger, and when the stick goes aft, the trees get smaller, up to a point. If the stick goes far enough aft, eventually the trees are going to get bigger really, really, really fast. Now, for over 100 years, we've actually been flying airplanes without any specific information about how hard our wing is working and what to do with our power. In other words, we don't have a how hard our wing is working gauge, all right? And we obviously all know that angle of attack is the key to flying an airplane, yet we can't see angle of attack, and pitch is a very poor surrogate for angle of attack. And we don't have a power required gauge. I have power gauges, but I have nothing that tells me how much power I need right now to fly my airplane. Now, what if we put the right angle of attack system in there and the right cues that actually told the pilot how hard his wing is working right now, and also what power is required when he is maneuvering the airplane. So let's take a look at the system that we have installed in this airplane. Down in the lower right-hand corner of your video is something we call an AOA Indexer in the military. Now, an indexer is a visual display that shows angle of attack. We've added a couple of features to this one. Obviously, we put indicated airspeed in miles an hour over on the left, and we put G's over on the right-hand side. Down in the lower left-hand corner is a flap position indicator, and that has something to do with AOA calibration, but it's not germane to what we're talking about right now. And at the bottom, we have a standard slip skid ball. In the middle, we have our actual AOA Indexer display. So let me just slow the airplane down and familiarize you with that, okay? We have the standard donut chevrons that light up, okay, telling us what to do with our nose to get to an on-speed condition. Now, we'll talk about on-speed more in a bit, but the first angle of attack I want to discuss is Liberty Max. So the lower chevron lights, the trend bar lines up with the balls, and we are at a 50% fractional lift condition when we're at Liberty Max. Now, that is true for any airplane. Doesn't matter if I'm in an RV4 or a 747. When I'm at Liberty Max, the wing is working at 50% capacity. That angle of attack is engineered right into the airfoil, okay? Now, let's continue to slow down. Notice I get trend information from the system, both from the white bar and from the oral tone. That is absolutely critical, because if I don't have trend information when I maneuver, I don't know how to anticipate what is going to happen and what I need to do with my throttle and my flight controls. Now, this next condition is what fighter pilots call an on-speed condition, and that's a poor choice of words because on-speed is actually an angle of attack. In reality, it's a small band of angle of attack because you can't fly a single precise angle of attack. In this case, it's plus or minus 1 degree, okay? And that gives me about a plus or minus 2 knot band. In other words, about a 4 to 5 knot wide airspeed band that we consider to be an on-speed condition. So notice I've got a solid tone. I've got the bar in the middle of the green donut. The green donut is lit, and I'm at a 60% fractional lift condition. That also is true for any airplane. An on-speed condition occurs at 60% fractional lift. Now, what is so cool is you'll notice my indicated airspeed is about 69 or 70. That happens to be 1.3 VS in this airplane, and that is a huge correlation. In other words, this is a V-ap or V-approach condition. This is how I come in and land my airplane. Now let's talk about what happens if we get slow, okay? Notice we get a distinct frequency change. The trend indicator goes up, fractional lift increases, and we know that we are in a slow condition. Now, slow condition also is a negative P sub S condition. I can't maintain this without giving something up, okay? So in this case, if I maintain my airspeed at 63, I give up altitude. Why? I don't have enough power. So the slow tone tells me I have to either add power and make it go away, or get slow again. I have to reduce angle of attack and make it go away. Now, the other thing about an on-speed condition that's interesting is it correlates with zero excess specific power. Now notice what happens to my indicated airspeed if I maintain on speed but I increase my G load. All right? This is a concept a lot of pilots don't grasp, and this is what gets people into trouble when they're maneuvering close to the ground. If I maintain a constant angle of attack, my airspeed is going to change with G. Now the sad fact is most civilians kill themselves at very low G. And I would point out that it's almost impossible at the low Gs we're talking about, and we're talking about something between maybe 1.2 and 1.8 Gs, to even be able to realistically feel that in the cockpit. So let's go back up and take a look at a real common mishap scenario and the information we actually get from a good angle of attack system. So I'm just climbing at L/D max right now, and the reason I'm doing that is a rough approximation of a best rate of climb. So let's just climb back up here to about 5,500 feet or so. And let's just set up for a common traffic pattern. So let's just slow the airplane down. We'll deploy flaps 40 because that's the way we land this airplane. We'll go to an on-speed condition because that's the way that we land the airplane, okay? And then we'll just roll into a base turn, and we'll depart the airplane. Now notice the G loading when we departed was actually very, very low. Matter of fact, sitting in the cockpit, I really couldn't tell that I was putting some G's on the airplane. That's the coffin corner concept, okay? So the important concept there is if you maintain an indicated airspeed, you are going to increase your angle of attack. It will go past critical. And you can see that in a 45-degree bank, we are only pulling 1.4 Gs, but our indicated stall speed increased by 18%. And that's what gets folks into trouble either on landing or takeoff. And that is what I'm trying to get across with both having how hard my wing is working and what my power required is to actually fly an airplane. Thanks for listening.